First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you could never really know what's up next.
Hello. Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Up Next at postwrestling.com. You may be listening to this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You may be asking yourself, they made it? Yes, we have risen. Happy Easter, happy 420, and more importantly, happy WrestleMania weekend, everybody. Hello, Davie. We made it. And we are
live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, YouTube room. How are you doing? Happy Easter. Happy WrestleMania. Happy Stand and Deliver. Yeah.
That's right. We are standing and we are delivering. Okay, we're sitting down and we are extremely hungover, but we are here today, people. We are here for you at noon Easter Sunday. The Lord is challenging us today on Easter, WrestleMania, and this night one hangover. And guess what? We're going to do it all over again tonight. But hello, you may be joining us in the post wrestling chat. Welcome, everybody. Drop a frog. We are Poisonrana. We're going to chat about Stand and Deliver later here today. There's so much wrestling going on that we don't blame you if you're listening to this days after, if you're trying to catch up. But hello.
I got a text from the patriarch of post wrestling at 10:53 a.m. this morning saying, "Is there anything you need from me before you go live?" And I was very tempted to go, "Yes, John. Do you want to talk about Stand and Deliver?" So
you want to do the show for us?
I can get a few hours in bed.
So yeah, we're going to talk about NXT, but we're here today for the people. So hello, everybody. If you've managed to make it here, hey, super chats, welcome today on the post wrestling YouTube. As always, we got a lot to talk about. We got night one of WrestleMania that we'll get into maybe a little after our NXT chats. We did our bar event, night one of our bar event last night at Gabby's here in Toronto, and tonight we're going to do it all again. So that's why we're a little beat up. We're a little rough around the edges today.
Yeah, I think a little is a bit of an understatement, but you know what? We've got some good wrestling to talk about, so I'm much more prepared to do one of these shows when we're enthusiastic about the product we're gonna review. But yeah, like it was, we had a night last night. It was WrestleMania Saturday at Gabby's. We will be talking about our thoughts on WrestleMania at the end of the show. But yeah, the bar was packed. We had people inside, people outside, and then the Poisonranas started flowing. The Royal Rumble shots started flowing, and we had a great time. This morning, not so much, but we made it. We're here. We're here. It's noon. We're on the post wrestling feed. We're gonna stand and deliver.
Absolutely. You know, last night at the end of WrestleMania night one, there was so much drama. There was so much drama. All this unfolding in front of us. What could be happening? What are we witnessing? What is happening? What could possibly happen next? But then it happened, Davie. We found your phone.
We did, yeah. I pocketed some poor lady's phone to start with.
Here I am helping this lady for like a good 10 minutes.
I can't find my phone. Does anyone have my phone? And I'm like, oh, it's in my pocket. Hang on, where's my phone?
I'm helping this poor lady look for this phone for like 10 minutes. And then I was like, hey, let's retrace your steps. And then she's like, I don't know. This fucking bloke was talking to us. And I'm like, wait a second. Is there a chance he has it? And then, yeah, you had it in your pocket, which then led to, wait, where's my phone? And then we spent a good 20 minutes where I'm calling it, where you tried logging in to find my phone, all this shit. And then I'm like, okay, let's retrace your steps. And it was right next to the audio box of the bar. But yes, we found your phone.
WrestleMania moment, eh?
Yeah, we found your phone. This was after WrestleMania had gone off the airs, but thankfully we found your phone. No one's phone was teefed during our events, and we like to keep it that way. So yes, the saga continues tonight. So keep it close. Keep it on a tether.
Yes. I need to be. I think I'll be on a self-made tether tonight. I can't see myself going quite as hard on WrestleMania Sunday as I did WrestleMania Saturday. I got to go to work Monday morning, so
the best,
no rest for the wicked, eh?
The WrestleMania moment of the night was you finding your phone, but then as soon as like we cleared up, we finished everything, everybody left, and then we're like, should we go to Wide Open? Should we go? And you're like, yes, all right, we're gonna go to Wide Open. And your girlfriend who visited us for this event, she got to see firsthand of what exactly we do. She looks at me and gave me the biggest death stare ever. And then I look at you, put my arm around you, Davie. I think you're going home. And then you look at me, you're like, what? And then you look at her, she looks at me, she's like, you did the right. She gave me the Paul Heyman, like, you did the right thing.
It was the right thing.
Get out of here, Davie. Go home. And then she's like, thank fuck.
Yeah, I think if I went for one more, I'd have felt like I'd been low blowed by Paul Heyman. So yes, but we're here. It's we had NXT last night yesterday morning.
What do you mean last night? 10 a.m. in the morning.
10 a.m. What a time to be alive. Crazy. Pretty packed show, and I thought a pretty hot crowd considering that time, and also a crowd that I think for the most part, seemed to follow the product. I think they seemed pretty hyped. They seemed to know everyone. I thought last year's Stand and Deliver, we had a bit of a mixed bag. There were like acts that they reacted to, i.e. Chase U, rest in peace. Mm-hmm. But I thought this crowd yesterday, I keep saying last night, I thought yesterday it sounded hot. It didn't sound like a 10 in the morning Vegas time show to me. It
would be
some
so
people
hard.
Are saying Triple H is still doing a speech right now. So like I don't know how much sleep some of these people had, but yes, I thought it was a pretty hyped crowd considering the circumstances.
I think we went to Stand and Deliver last year and we kept joking because I had to like roll the corpse of my body out to try to make it for it. It felt like it wasn't at 10 a.m. last year. It felt like it was like at noon or 1 or something.
At noon or 1, I think. Yeah.
So it was 1 p.m. for us Eastern time yesterday for Stand and Deliver, but that is a 10 a.m. start for Stand and Deliver Vegas local time. And that in my opinion, like I don't know where else they would put that show, but that is a tough ask, especially if people are in town and going out the night before and this and that. You really have to pick your battles of what you want to do WrestleMania weekend, because we're going to get into it. But like I thought this year's Stand and Deliver was leagues above last year's show. But 10 a.m. start time, you had about half the amount of people because nobody can make it. If you're trying to make it to WrestleMania, like that's not a big window of time to try to get across town in Vegas.
Yeah, traffic. Like we were hustling to get our setup done.
What's our story
we're
yesterday?
Watching and it's like, we don't need this commercial.
Do we need this commercial?
Penn and Teller, love you guys, but can we get to the main event, please?
As soon as they're showing commercials for AJ Styles and Logan Paul, that felt like a fucking 5-minute commercial. I was like, let's get.
It felt like the main event of WrestleMania, the commercial they put out. But yeah, we were definitely hustling to get set up. I'm sure people were in very similar position in Vegas. Obviously they're going to allow enough time for you to get from A to B because they want you to go to both shows. But man, cutting it tight.
Absolutely. Like you could see as soon as the final bell rang of this main event at NXT, you just see people booking it, running to make it because they're trying to probably make it to WrestleMania on time, which was probably a very hard task. But look at all the crazy stuff we do as wrestling fans, but like we got to watch it all. I'm sure there's people who only watch WWE or only watch main roster or go to Vegas this weekend and maybe went just to the indie stuff, which could be a whole lot of fun as well, which I was catching up on as well. But yeah, so much stuff going on, and it's a tough ass. 10 a.m. Like, oh man, Godspeed to anyone who. We had a long day. We had a nice day. I came over to the BDE. You made us some steak and hash browns and some.
I need that right now.
Yeah, me too.
I'm craving bacon. Like,
I'm gonna go get the greasiest food after recording this podcast before meeting up with you because I need something in my.
Well, I was like, you know what I want this morning? I want bagels, bacon, and sausages. And I go to the store and I'm like, fuck, it's Easter. Everything's closed.
No.
So yeah, definitely gonna find somewhere to just pour grease into my bloodstream after this show.
Yeah, I came over. You made us some breakfast, and we had Graham. You made some coffee for us, and then we watched Stand and Deliver, and then we kept guessing like this should end at 3:30. No, because we're gonna put commercials in between everything, so it ended at 4. And then we had to hustle and book it to Gabby's because we had to set up our party for WrestleMania. And of course, people show up early, and God bless all of our people who come. But like, people are already trying to come in the bar, and we're like, hey, we haven't even set up things. And
I've got my boss going, oh, people are getting antsy waiting outside when you're letting them in, and I'm like, yep, that's why I say doors open at 5:30 and not 4:30, and if they happen to read that, they wouldn't be stood outside in the cold. But we just read your emails, guys. Whenever you book anything, as someone who organizes things, please just read the information we give to you. We do it to try and help, and if you don't, you get a snippy Davie.
So we had the bar full, we had the patio open. The weather got a little colder by the time it was nighttime, but we had our friends Pure Fandom with like a little shop there. It felt like a whole fun thing. We had the bar rocking.
Big Tom saying, "Oh, it feels like WrestleMania Saturday last year because I'm shivering away watching this show." I'm like, I didn't ask you to wear shorts, Tom. I don't know what to say to you.
But yeah, we had a fun time. We had a lot of people there. People were drinking the Poisonranas and stuff. If you're listening, you're like, hey, I don't even know who these guys are. Go to Poisonrana.ca or follow Poisonrana on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it may be. We have all the socials and podcast app. And check out some of the stuff. I'll do a post probably post weekend where I post up a lot of the fun and adventures that we got up to this weekend. So if you did come to our live watch parties, thank you very much. And we will be doing some in the future. I think we'll be doing something for All In, Y'all In, Forbidden Door, and some in the near future. But appreciate and yeah, check out all the other stuff because we go live every Tuesday here on Post Wrestling. We will be going live this upcoming Tuesday, right after NXT for our WrestleMania hangover edition of
our
NXT.
Debrief. Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about everything, both nights of Mania and everything else that we watched and everything. So join us 10:05 p.m. this upcoming Tuesday because we will be talking about NXT and everything. But we do this every Tuesday, but we do a whole lot of other stuff. Poisonrana.ca for all that stuff. We had a huge schedule on our Patreon. We were doing some killer podcasts, and we got some love for our best match ever, Triple H. Yes, the game has gone into the Hall of Fame. Saw him kissing Shawn Michaels there. What a moment. What a moment. WrestleMania moment right there. The lads have a little peck.
Absolutely. A little bit of housekeeping as well. We are taking a little break on the Patreon next week. I am going to Mexico to kind of unwind after this hectic WrestleMania week.
Mm-hmm.
Braden's going to take the week off and pay some attention to his girlfriend, I guess, who he's been neglecting during this WrestleMania week as well. So we've been pumping out the shows in the last month. We've 2 huge shows in The Champ Is Here, episode 8. We've been going through every single title reign of John Cena, and we had a very special guest in Jason Solomon, the Solomonster from Solomonster Sounds Off and voice of Hog Wrestling. He joined us to talk about the 8th reign of John Cena. This was Elimination Chamber 2010 with the surprise kind of cash-in from Batista at the end there. That's up on there. You mentioned best match ever, Triple H, a show that almost went as long as his induction speech at the Hall of Fame. Big show there with the 2. And we had our WrestleMania 9 review. As you know, WrestleMania going back to Vegas, we thought it made a whole lot of sense to talk about the last time they were in Vegas. And boy, was this a fun show to talk about.
Absolutely. Yes. We had a lot of fun chatting about Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, Yokozuna, Hulk Hogan's black eye. We had a lot of discussion on that new documentary, Becoming the Spectacle. So a whole huge podcast on WrestleMania 9, which was a whole ton of fun. So lots and lots of shows. We recently reviewed WrestleMania 18 as well from Toronto. So it's $5 to become a friend. It's WrestleMania weekend. Support us. Buy yourself some podcasts and buy us a beer. Patreon.com/Poisonrana for all the other podcasts that we do. So many shows.
But I think that's enough preamble for today. I think we should kick into gear and talk about NXT Stand and Deliver 2025.
Absolutely. Did they stand? Did they deliver? More importantly, will we get to see a grown-ass woman here on the show tonight?
I think we will. Let's kick off things with the kickoff match on the show. It is Metaphor versus Fatal Influence versus Tatum, Paxley, and Gigi Dolin versus Roxanne, Perez, and Cora, Jade. And a little number one contenders match here for the women's tag team titles, which will be defended in Vegas on Tuesday's NXT. Jakara, Jackson, and Lash Legend with the first kind of special WrestleMania gear of the weekend, with their big showgirls, like Vegas showgirls, green feather entrance. I thought they looked great. I was surprised. I thought this was going to be Seth Rollins' outfit at WrestleMania, but he went for more of the Easter weekend.
He has risen
instead of the Vegas weekend. Yes.
we had a he has risen chant that I got over in the bar quite a few times last night. I'm sure also the stadium people doing it, but yeah, I'm sure we again, we're recording this before night 2 of Mania. I do think we might get another Showgirls-esque entrance, but I thought that Lash pulled it off really well. Shout out Showgirls. Great movie, by the way. Fantastic.
So we kick off things. Roxanne and Lash Legend start things off with Lash using a lot of her height and strength, just tossing Roxanne around, holding her high up in the air. Rox lands a big slap on Lash, who gives her a receipt right back. And then there's this crazy-looking electric chair toss from Lash to Jakara in a big powerbomb. This spot looked great. I've been really enjoying Metaphor's kind of double team moves they've been doing. It then all breaks down with all 8 women in the ring. The referee's kind of trying to break them all up, but the crowd are chanting, "Let them fight." So he's like, you know what? Just go for it. They all start to brawl. And then we have a series of high spots to the outside. JC Jane comes off the top with a sent onto the floor. And then Tatum dives to the outside with this like twisting press off the apron, which looked very nice. Fallon comes off the top rope with a cross body. Gigi hits a whisper in the wind to the floor. And then there's finally a swanton bomb from Cora to everyone on the outside. And Jakara, it's like the Rey Mysterio spot. The ref is like checking on everyone on the outside. And Jakara Jackson leaps over him with the Conhilo. As the referee is distracted Jasmine Nix. The referee's distracted, allowing Jasmine Nix to hit Jakara with a soccer kick. And then Cora Jade hits the double arm DDT to the floor. There's a powerbomb counter into a pop rocks to Lash Legend, and Lash and Jakara are eliminated first. And as I'm reading my notes, I'm thinking the same thing as I did yesterday. Oh yeah, this was an elimination match. So
we all thought that.
Metaphor being the first to be eliminated here. Now Cora Jade is being double teamed by everyone, and Roxanne decides to walk out on her partner, leaving Cora Jade alone.
Leaving Cora. Right.
Yeah. Allowing Tatum and Gigi to hit like this double jackknife cover to Cora, eliminating her next. So now it's Fatal Influence versus Tatum and Gigi. And Tatum and Gigi apply... I don't know how else to describe this. I've got in my notes a sex pose submission.
Yes, shout out
which
Vic
is
Joseph.
what they're going for, right?
Yeah. Vic Joseph on the call with I know he's a big fan of Sabrina Carpenter, but him referencing another Sabrina Carpenter position, because apparently Sabrina Carpenter invented the Eiffel Tower. But this was more of I don't know, I've definitely seen this somewhere before, but one of the more innovative submissions I've seen lately in wrestling. The Juno position? No, it wasn't that, but it was something. It was something. Shout out, Vic. You're muted, my friend.
Fallon Henley then comes in with this beautiful pump handle throw. And then there's a blockbuster from Fallon to Gigi, a big flying knee from JC to Gigi, which looked very nice. And then Tatum runs in and jumps off the pin attempt, like jumping off back.
Very
this
cool.
Big flying kick to Fallon. Great like breakup spot here. Gigi goes for the roll up, but Nyx is distracting, so the ref isn't counting. And then Fallon pushes the roll up over to allow JC to get a near fall. But then Tatum and Gigi hit Cemetery Drive, which is their like double SOS, and the Spooky Girls win.
Ooh, yes. My Chemical X have won the contendership here for the tag title. So they will be getting a tag title match on Tuesday, depending on who the champions will be. It definitely won't be Bayley after seeing what transpired. Another attack angle. But yes, a pretty fun match. I think maybe Gigi Dolin heard you and many other people complaining in the last few weeks about how, it seems that sometimes maybe she's kind of the one not pulling the weight in some of the matches. And this time around, it felt like Paxley and Gigi were going balls to the wall. Shout out Shotzi, because they were doing all sorts of crazy fun stuff. So this had no right to be as fun as it was. I didn't expect too much coming out of this match, but there was some cool stuff. And I think Tatum Paxley is really, really starting to shine. I think just giving her the like, oh, she's a rocker, gothy girl character was kind of just like going to the well, but the wrestling is definitely coming out of her right now, where I'm seeing the improvements. And I thought everyone in this match actually like impressed. Sorry. So yeah, a pretty fun pre-show match. And then obviously sets up for what I imagine is Roxanne's last NXT with the walkout on Cora Jade. I don't know if they would do that in this Tuesday or possibly the PC to give Roxanne her like final bow.
Yeah, I feel you've got to go to that match one more time. Cora versus Roxanne. It's the perfect match for Roxanne to go out on as well. And I'm with you. I'd save that for the PC. I think you do the setup angle on this week's Tuesday in Vegas and have it be the following week in the PC. So, that PC audience can give Roxanne her flowers. Really enjoyed this match. I think, something I really like about this weekend is, people with kind of chips on their shoulder and wanting to prove themselves. These women are in like one of the worst positions of the weekend. They're going out there at 9:30 in the morning, Vegas time, on a kickoff show, not the actual pay-per-view. And I think they wanted to prove why they should potentially be on the main show. And I thought they absolutely did. Everyone stepped up their game in this match. There were some really fun spots. Like I loved all the dives to the outside. Some really, some innovative like double team moves from Metaphor. Some great like near fall kick out spots. Good use of Jasmine Nyx for some distractions as well, for some good near falls as well. I thought this was a whole lot of fun. This could tip things off that maybe Lyra wins the tag titles potentially, because we do have a moment later in the show where Tatum is bringing up, I could get to face my sweet Lyra. If you remember in NXT, they had their little like thing with Tatum being obsessed with Lyra Valkyria. It could work either way. You could have Liv and Raquel in a classic just heel versus babyface win. Fun match, I will say. I don't see Gigi and Tatum having any chance of winning these titles though. On Tuesday. They tease
NXT, the women's division, with these tag titles like every other week, it seems, on NXT. Like we do the show every week, and it's like, just give it to us already. Like you don't know, you don't even want those titles. You just give them to people just to have. And it's like, why don't you just like bring them back down here one more time? I don't think Gigi and Pax, but after a pretty hot match like this, I think they'll have a fun match with whoever it is on Tuesday. But still, I think this was a right match because it was just chaotic and everything. And again, it's 10 a.m. So like these people are trying to wake up, and there was some cool flashy stuff that definitely would get people like, oh, okay. Like, did they serve beer at 10 a.m.? Like, I don't think I would
Vegas,
want one.
I feel so. Like, if I was promoting this show, I'd be like a free mimosa or Bloody Mary on entry, you know? Like,
and a coffee,
that's
a Red
the way
Bull,
you get
maybe.
the people in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is something I if anyone listening runs an arena, please sell coffee, sell Red Bull. There's so many times we've gone to these crazy wrestling weekends, and you're like, why can I not get any caffeine in this building?
In Vegas, you could find it. I'm sure you could probably find
sure.
anything else to keep you going in Vegas at 10 a.m. in the morning. But like, I can't wait till the dust settles and someone out there will be like, yeah, I just stayed awake for the whole weekend. I'm sure someone out there was crazy enough to do that. But pretty fun opening match, even on the pre-show. I think this was a set the tone of the night because not a bad match on this show. So and the commentary will reference later on, especially Vic Joseph, when him and Booker are going at it, that Vic references that they got there at 5 a.m. Vegas time to set up for the show. That means preparing.
Didn't the Hall of Fame finish at like 4 a.m. or something crazy like that?
I mean, Triple H. Yeah, he went like a whole 4 hours or something. So like,
I haven't caught the whole speech yet, but what I did catch was Triple H making a joke about Mr. T going on and on and on at WrestleMania 30, the Hall of Fame I was at.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, bro, you went 65 minutes, man. Like, come on.
So we start things off with that, and I think this set the tone of like, all right, let's wake up. We got to, even though it's 10, it was 1 for us, but it's like, all right, let's go. 1 p.m. start for us, 10 a.m. for Vegas, but we're here for some wrestling.
So we go to the main show of Stand and Deliver. We get a cool opening video. It's showing shots of Vegas, and it's showing kind of Vegas from its humble beginnings, where it's just showing it as a desert. And now Vegas today with all the glitz and glamour, and kind of comparing it to NXT, how a lot of these superstars, you know, had humble beginnings. They kind of came in from the indies or the PC. They look like a shitty desert, and now look at them. They're glowing and glistening. Kind of fun comparison there. But we kick things off right away with the North American Championship. Ricky Saints versus All Ego Ethan Page, a AEW to NXT match coming here. And Ricky is delivering some stiff shots early, and then does his old school as he's walking and strutting along the top rope.
No kiss Page, though. He didn't do the kiss this time like he did a few weeks ago on NXT.
Yes. Page then hits a nice looking power slam to the apron and is targeting the back of Ricky Saints. Ricky goes for a springboard crossbody and just gets sent crashing into the announce table, hurting that back even more. Page goes for a big boot, but Ricky ducks this and drops him into a Boston Crab. Ethan drops Ricky into a Boston Crab, but Ricky gets the ropes. Page then delivers a backbreaker on the top rope, which I haven't really seen used much before, but still targeting that back. And then Ethan is running the ropes, but Ricky catches him with a springboard DDT, followed by a Michinoku driver. This is where we notice that Saints is bleeding from the mouth. And then Ricky running the ropes and clearly heard that Tetsuya Naito might be done. So, well, I guess I can take his Destino now, as he hits Page with a Destino. Which looked very nice. Page then catches Saints with a code breaker and hits the Ego's Edge, his version of the Razor's Edge. 1, 2, but Ricky kicks out, runs the ropes, hits the spear, and follows up with the Roshambo. And Ricky Saints wins in 12 minutes, 43 seconds.
Yeah, a pretty fun match from these two. We've seen, like, I feel like their styles are kind of similar, where usually Ethan Page has, like, it can be hit or miss since coming to NXT, but I felt like this was like a bit of a refreshing opening match here between the two of them. And I thought that it was a little better than what I was expecting. And I think the right guy won. I don't think we saw Ethan Page taking it, but I'm sure they have some things for Ethan Page, maybe main roster eventually down the line or pretty quickly, I'd say. But a pretty fun match, and Ricky getting a bloody lip at the end. But there was some cool stuff, especially that dive that Ricky took onto the table, that Destino as well. But yeah, I kind of got into it, and I think so did the crowd a little bit. Again, I think this is where it's like the match was going, and people were like, oh, "Okay, it's 10 a.m. We gotta focus. We're sitting in this arena. All right, let's go." But I thought a pretty fun opening match. I think maybe my least favorite on the show, but not a bad match by any means. Just compared to maybe some of the other chaotic stuff, this is one of the only one-on-one matches really. And I think they
of the whole weekend. Yeah,
yeah, it feels like I still think they delivered for this one. And I'm liking Ricky Saints so far in NXT. And again, I do think Ethan Page maybe should move up to the main roster.
Yeah, I thought very strong opener here. Wasn't my favorite match of the show, but I just think that comments on the quality of this show, because I thought this was a really strong opener. Liked the back work from Ethan Page. I think these two just feel like pros. You know, they're both. You can move them up whenever you're ready to, and I feel the only thing stopping them is just trying to bolster this NXT brand. We were talking for a while about how the men's side of NXT was suffering, and I feel now that's kind of not so much the case since the insertion of Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. I don't know what's left for him in NXT. You might want him there to just bolster kind of the star power on the men's side if you don't have a solid plan for him on the main roster yet. But solid win from Ricky. I enjoyed this match. The crowd seemed really hot for it as well. They were really getting to it. The "This is awesome" chants, "Fight Forever," which we would go whenever that "Fight Forever" chant came up. We were like, please don't.
No, WrestleMania's later tonight.
Set up for WrestleMania.
I will. There was the Tony fumbled chants as well, and I see some people in our chat right now. Shout out Samantha, who says, "I was there yesterday, and half the T-Mobile arena was empty." Yes, I did see some photos and videos, especially when the Tony fumble chant's going on and half of the arena is empty. We were there last year and they had 17,000. Again, 10 a.m. start time, I would guess has something to do with people not showing up to this event like last year. But I did check WrestleTix. They did say around over 8,000 or something like that. So there were still people there. There's still a lot of people.
Still like a good crowd. T-Mobile Arena is a big arena as well. And I'll say, it didn't sound like a half-empty arena. Considering how early it was, I did think this crowd sounded pretty hyped throughout.
I do think they took a while to get louder compared. Like if you watch maybe the first few matches and then the main event of this show, it's like, okay, here we go. They're waking up now. That coffee's kicking in essentially. But I do think the Tony fumbled thing's a bit much. Like why? I don't think people would be chanting that at the other show. Just like, oh yeah, Triple H fumbled to Ricochet or whatever. Like it's just kind of silly. But I do think that Ethan Page and Ricky now coming to WWE, like we'll see what their ceiling is and potential is. And I do think Ricky's going to help run NXT for a little bit, and Ethan will hopefully have a nice successill run on Raw.
They both feel very WWE.
Yeah.
As acts. I think we were saying this when they were in AEW. Like they feel like they belong. Like their style, both in ring and on the mic and stuff, feels a very WWE product. We go to our next match. It's for the NXT Tag Team Championship. FRAXIOM, Nathan Fraser and Axiom, taking on Hank and Tank. Hank and Tank with their best gear ever. They saved it for Stand and Deliver season. The white
baseball jerseys.
The white baseball jersey. It's funny at Gabby's we gave all the staff wrestling shirts. Just it made me realize how many shitty wrestling shirts I own.
Yeah, you own a lot.
But we handed them out, and our bartender Gareth was wearing the Survivor Series 2016 Shane O'Mac white baseball jersey, team blue.
He had no idea who Shane McMahon is.
He had no idea. but was having so many compliments. People like, yo, Shane O'Mac jersey, yo.
So I
And
told
he's
him,
like,
start doing the skip, start doing this. And
Yeah.
he's like, okay. I'm like, trust me, people will tip you if you just start doing this. And then he's like, look, is this how you do it?
We're like, yeah, good enough.
Yeah, you got it. You nailed
So
it.
everyone's like, oh, cool jersey. Which way did he go? Which way did he go? But yes, Hank and Tank in their white baseball jerseys, shorts, and the white boots. I think it was the white boots that just made them look a lot cleaner and a lot better than they usually do. So yeah, saved it all for Stand and Deliver season. I like it.
Like so the story of Hank and Tank is like they've been put together, the security guard and then Tank, and then they're Hank and Tank because their names rhyme, and then they've been just on this losing streak, and it's been gearing up for them to, challenge. They won this gauntlet on Tuesday, and here they are now as the number one contenders. And I think we could see the writing on the wall as soon as like FRAXIOM has had one hell of a year and a run, and it's like we're kind of counting our days of we're going to lose these guys pretty soon. And I think the time has come for that. But Booker T losing his mind here at Hank and Tank, and Vic Joseph has picked up, just like I have picked up over the last few months, of Booker T just loves Hank and Tank. And Book says, of course you love them. Aren't they reality of wrestling tag champions? And Booker's like, we don't need to talk about that.
It's like, especially, I'm pretty sure Booker T was shitting on these guys for the longest time.
Then they work his show.
Yeah, and then they work his show, and he's like, "Oh, these are my favorite,
my boys
of all time, better than the Dudley Boys." These two,
yeah, dude. Does reality of wrestling count as a world tag?
Oh yeah, it's a world championship. It's not regional. Yeah.
Also, got to shout out Corey Graves and Vic Joseph with the most awesome Vegas-inspired jackets, and then Booker T looks like he's about to go do his taxes. Booker T dressed like your dad.
Speaking of which, have you done yours yet?
Yes. Reminder, everybody, do your taxes. But Booker T looked like he would help me do them. Like he didn't ball out at all. Like the two white guys, flashy as fuck, and Booker T's just like, yeah, I'm here to go to work. It's like, oh, damn, okay, but we love you, Booker T. I don't care. Booker T and Vic Joseph, one of my favorite combo of thing, because I don't care if you were like, oh, Booker T this, Booker T that. Nah, dude's a legend and he's hilarious. Whether that's good or bad, I love Vic and Booker on my commentary. Take that for however you want.
Yeah. Corey's suit especially, I like this. I love the pattern he had here. So FRAXIOM are just double teaming Hank very early on. They're just using their speed, their very quick kicks. Axiom hits this kick to the face of Hank, but Hank starts hulking up. There's a running shooting star from Fraser. And then Fraser is on Hank's shoulders as he's spinning him around, taking out Axiom. And then Tank comes in with the hot tag. There's a fisherman suplex into a spine buster from Tank to Fraser, which was pretty innovative. And then Fraser Rana's Tank on top of Hank on the outside, follows up with this 450 splash from Fraser. And then Hank shoves Fraser off and takes him out with this big clothesline. And then Tank flapjacks his own partner, Hank, onto Fraser for a 2 count. And then Hank starts thinking, maybe, it's Stand and Deliver season. Let's do something crazy. And goes for a tope suicida, but misses and goes crashing into the announce table. A spot that's used quite a lot over this Saturday of Mania weekend, the announce table spot.
This was a pretty big spot. Like, no water in the pool here. Like, Hank just went splat on this table. It didn't break, it didn't give, but he just toped onto the announce table. Very impressive. And we have Hank is like pulling out all the stops, especially in this match. And I thought this was one that stood out, where it's just like whoop, splat right on the desk. Pretty cool.
Tank then jumps off the apron into a super kick. There's then the high-low drop kick combination from FRAXIOM to Tank, but a kick out. Axiom hits his avalanche Spanish fly. Fraser follows up with the Phoenix splash, but Hank breaks it up just at the last millisecond. This is where the crowd are now rabid. This is the loudest they are sounding up to this point. There's a huge Bossman slam from Tank to Fraser, tope suicida to Axiom, and then Hank and Tank rip their shirts off. The crowd go crazy. Honk, honk, splash in the middle. and then they're running power slam, headbutt combination, and new NXT Tag Team Champions in 13 minutes, 57 seconds. They put away the unbeatable FRAXIOM and are your new champions in a pretty feel-good moment here.
Yeah, absolutely. The security guard hood dream has come true for Hank Walker. He is a champion here in NXT, but a lot of fun from this match. Like FRAXIOM and like that run has been pretty fun and awesome. And I think it's time that they go to the main roster and, I don't know, join a TLC match or something, but we'll talk about that later. But Hank and Tank, they've really stepped up in the last few weeks or last few months, really, especially with the storyline. And it makes sense. You know, both these guys put in the work. And this was a really fun match with some of the crazy spots. And I wouldn't maybe rank it as high as some of the other FRAXIOM matches. I think I've enjoyed maybe a little bit more, but the story has more weight with Hank and Tank being like, we followed, especially me and you watching every week. Like we followed them for the last few years where it's like, okay, look, they've actually put in this work and made something work. So I'm really happy for these guys. And I think they could have some fun matches with other tag teams here in NXT. And I feel like Hank was like kind of lost. He was doing the security guard thing. And then they joined with Tank, and Tank seemed to like maybe pick it up a little bit more. I feel like maybe people like Hank has the like wild charisma that's drawn out something from Hank. So they have kind of, you know, created something here. So I'm waiting to see what else they can do, but a really good feel good moment for these guys. And I think I wouldn't put it past some people picking this as match of the show or even match of the day, even because it was a lot of fun, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I get the feeling that Hank and Tank are very like their on-screen personalities in real life.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You get the sense like it's a feel-good moment for the characters, but also just for the performers as well in this case. I think it was a shame that I think this story lent itself to be up against more of a like top heel tag team as your champions to really make it feels a little like we all love FRAXIOM. They're an incredible tag team. And even though Fraser leans into that heel role, we still like these two. And I think a run as long and defined as they've had, it's kind of a shame it's these two after all the teams they've faced. It's these two that win.
It sounds
like,
bad saying that,
and
but
that's throwing like a little bit of shade. Like I like it, it's almost I really like this Hank and Tank story. Just wish the opponents were different.
Right.
It wasn't the best FRAXIOM match, but it was certainly the best Hank and Tank match.
Yeah.
I got into it, and I think it's got to mean that that FRAXIOM are moving up now, especially New Day, your new tag team champions on the Raw side.
Sure.
That Raw has no tag division. It's War Raiders and New Day pretty much.
Yeah.
So, you know, FRAXIOM New Day in the near future, take my money. That sounds great. And now let's see what Hank and Tank can do with these things. And yeah, hopefully build up that tag division in NXT a little bit, because I feel we've ran the gauntlet. Literally, we did last week, but really, really ran the gauntlet of the current crop of tag teams. And I can't say that there's much excitement with me for a lot of those teams right now. That they just feel a little stale. So we'll see what these two are going to do with the titles.
Don't worry, they'll find some luchadors to go up against them pretty quickly. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yes.
But yeah, pretty happy for Hank and Tank. Again, if you followed the story of NXT, like they put the work in, and I'm interested to see where we go with the tag division NXT. If we lose FRAXIOM, which I think it's time, I think the more eyes on these guys, the bigger their stock will rise, because they had like the best year of this last year and this run, and now showing people what they can do on the main roster. I have a feeling they'll gain a whole lot of traction and some fans. So future WWE tag champs for sure, because never slow down. These guys have had one really hell of a run, and they're going to be missed because they've been stealing the show and putting in the work for NXT for the last like 2 years. Like honestly, think of all the last PLEs in the last 2 years. Like they were something that we had. Like, oh, at least we have a FRAXIOM match, and now we're going to lose that, and we're losing Rox, and we're losing. So it's always like a big reset post Mania for NXT of like, okay, other people got to step up, and we'll see if they can. And I think Hank and Tank definitely definitely did it here on Stand and Deliver. They stood and they delivered.
Okay, I'm going to set up the next segment by throwing to Chris Jones in the chat, who says, before you get to it, yes, the Penn and Teller with Lexis King will undoubtedly win worst segment of the year.
That's high praise. Yeah, this was weird. Penn and Teller, who are magicians.
Yes.
Right. I reckon I know who they are, but like I couldn't tell you what they did. I thought they did like money shows or something like that, but I don't even know what that means.
You're not familiar with Penn and Teller?
No, like I am, but I'm just like, oh yeah, what do they do? Are they magic? I don't know. Like Vegas, okay, cool. And here they are. Like I knew who the guy was when it cut to him, but then we have this really awkward segment where Lexis King's got his cup and the Heritage Cup, of course. And then Penn or Teller decides to put it in a shark cage.
Yeah. So
and then you hear like someone behind like banging.
We start with Penn, and Lexis King is just telling him that magic isn't real and you don't do magic. You might be able to fool these idiots, but not me because I'm an intellectual. And Penn goes, oh yeah, well, I see you're carrying around your cup. Do you want me to keep it safe for you? Because I just happen to have this cage with me in this backstage arena at NXT. So he goes, I'll keep it very safe for you. Puts the cup in the cage, is showing how solid these bars are, pulls a curtain, and then, as you mentioned, you hear a thud.
Clearly, someone is behind this curtain. Like, what?
Yeah.
Is that how good their magic shows are normally?
They pull up the curtain, and Teller is in there wearing a Jey Uso shirt and the yeet glasses as he eats, and the trophy has gone. I love Penn and Teller. Like, they're definitely an act. If I were to go to Vegas, I would be up for going to see a Penn and Teller show. I've seen them do some pretty cool stuff, pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
This, to me, though, was as effective of a commercial for their magic show as Tony Hinchcliffe was on commentary promoting the roast. Like, normally, okay, I've watched a fair amount of magic in my life. You know,
you love magic.
I love magic. You're meant to rotate the cage, be like, look, it's solid every side. Whereas you're just like, yeah, there's a door behind this cage. Like, and then you hear
like clearly someone's moving
they're clearly like removing this trophy. Yeah. It was pretty awful. And, you know, like, we could have done this magic trick. Like, it wasn't like these guys are good. Like, they've been doing magic. I think this is like I think they said like 5th decade or something. Like they're old. Decade. They've been doing this a lot. They started in their 20s. Like they've been doing this thing a long time. And this was the most basic, obvious magic trick, and just made Lexis King look even dumber. Like, because I didn't like this. It was bad, very bad.
Like magic, we always joke whenever we hang out with certain friends who like don't watch a lot of wrestling, but it always comes up like, why isn't there a magician wrestler? The problem is like the wrestler would have to actually be a magician, would actually have to be able to do these tricks, you know, in order for it to make it work. It's like Orange Cassidy's gimmick, but he actually knows how to wrestle, which makes it like work. Whereas you would need someone to actually do magic. But
Nigel McGuinness.
Yeah, that would be the closest that we get to it. But yeah, I had no idea. I know who Penn and Teller is. For some reason, I thought they did like stock shows or something. And this was not a good, impressive thing. Like I'm pretty sure I as a kid, I saw David Copperfield as a kid, and I thought he was pretty impressive. Where's Mind Freak? Isn't he in Vegas? Just come up behind someone, Mind Freak. That would be more impressive than what we got here. Where's Carrot Top? Does he do magic? He's somewhere. They're like, this was the least impressive. Like for the rest of my life, I will never go see their show now because I don't want to. The best is the yeeting shirt that he came out in, like this old guy wearing this yeet shirt and glasses. I am sure someone thought this was great, but yeah.
We go to the women's ladder match for the vacant women's North American title. Thea Hale, the grown ass woman.
I'm a grown ass woman.
Taking on Lola Vice, Izzy Dane.
Kelani was that Thea Hale? I thought it was Eddie Edwards coming out to. Wasn't that the theme song? Right, everybody been talking about how she's using an old TNA theme, but yeah, this This is pretty cool. Thea Hale had actually been MIA for quite a while in NXT, and just last Tuesday showed up again, won her match, and was entered into this huge women's vacant North American title match. And this was a whole lot of fun. I thought the women really shined, as usual, NXT. I thought the women really shined on this show, especially this match.
It was funny explaining everyone to my girlfriend here, saying like, okay, this is Thea Hale. She came to NXT to go to uni. She went to this university, but then her dean lost to a Welsh rugby player, so she left, and now she's a grown-ass woman. She's against the Latina MMA fighter
who shakes her bum.
Against the girl who used to hang out with the Italian family until she joined a cult. Against the gymnast who was told she's too nice, so she's a bit mean. Against the Australian Mad Max character who's friends with a hippie surfer girl. And like, okay, got it. So that's the match. Thea versus Lola versus Izzi Dame versus Kelani, Jordynne, Sol Ruca, and Zaria. I enjoyed as Lola's coming out. Thea was kind of dancing to her music a little bit.
It sounds like Shakira. Lola Vice's theme is supposed to sound like wherever. I swear to you, that beat is very, very similar to Shakira, but it's a banger.
Great.
Makes me want to shake my bum to it sometimes.
Thea drives Zaria into the ring steps using the ladder, and then Kelani drop kicks the ladder into Izzi and Lola's face on the outside. Sol starts to climb when someone's trying to pull Kelani off the ladder. Sol is trying to pull Kelani off the ladder and essentially stretches her into the splits, which look very cool.
Oh yeah, the Van Damme lift here from Kelani. I know she loves Rob Van Dam, but some Jean-Claude here too with that stretch like right across. Very impressive.
We get a double spear from Zaria, a spear to Izzi, and then Zaria helicopters Lola around. Helicopters the ladder right into Lola's face. This looked like she just smacked her right in the head, and luckily Lola seemed okay. She was still performing after this. This spot looked nasty. Lola Vice definitely taking the brunt of this match. She had a few kind of nasty moments in this match.
That angle looked like she took that, like that Terry Funk Bubba Ray spot with the ladder.
Yeah.
The camera angle looked like she got like Joey Mercury for a second there, but Lola Vice took some crazy bumps in this. She was the Johnny Knoxville in this ladder match. She was just taking all these big bumps. So shout out Lola for that especially.
There's an exploder suplex from Izzi to Zaria on the ladder, a beautiful handstand into a leg drop from Kelani, and then the springboard moonsault from Kelani to Thea and Sol on the floor. And now Kelani starts to climb, but Lola's back. She goes after her. There's this spinning back fist from Lola, but Sol moves, so she just back fists the ladder. Again, painful looking spot here. And then Izzi is about to smack Sol with the ladder. Is about to hit Zaria with the ladder, but Sol comes in, saving her tag team partner. There's then a choke slam from Izzi to Zaria, and then a sit-out powerbomb from Izzi to Kelani. Thea comes in with some headbutts and her springboard coffin drop onto Lola on the ladder, and then Thea starts to climb the ladder. And this was quite a cool spot, which we haven't seen before, and I guess it's easier with someone as light as Thea Hale is. But instead of tipping the ladder, they just kind of drag the ladder away from the belt.
It made me nervous. Yeah. I don't think you could do this with bigger like guys, because like the way that could go wrong, very like I was really nervous. I was biting my nails for a second, like, whoa. Like you're pulling this, jerking it while someone is right up there. That could have easily gone wrong. We've seen in ladder matches how hard it is for people to balance and everything, but wow, very crazy. And then we're like, hey, why are the Cullen family coming out here? What's the Cullen doing? Oh, wait, no, it's to help take this spot where Thea just goes flying. She's a grown-ass woman.
She's a grown-ass woman. Yes, Thea gets tipped. She lands onto the Cullen on the outside. Then Sol, Kelani, and Zaria are essentially surfing the ladder as another ladder is set up between the ropes and the ladder set up in the ring. And they're just balancing, surfing away on this ladder, where Sol gets knocked off, and Lola applies a sleeper to Zaria as Zaria is climbing the ladder. and Zaria's fading and falls back onto the ladder, allowing Kelani Jordynne to hit a frog splash to Lola Vice on top of this ladder. Lola just everything in this match. Kelani then starts to climb as Soul springboards to join Kelani on the ladder, and Zaria pulls Kelani off and military presses her, launching her to the floor. Didn't get all of it. Kelani falls a little short here on top of everyone there. So now we're left with Soul and Zaria. They're both climbing the ladder. They're two friends, the two tag team partners. They meet at the top, and Soul goes to punch Zaria, but stops. And Zaria holds her, and she's essentially going, it's okay. We got to do this. So they start trading forearms on top of the ladder. They're trading headbutts. Soul then kicks Zaria off the ladder, but where she is, the way the ladder is positioned, she is not in reaching distance of this belt. So she like flips herself, hanging off the top of the ladder, like kind of deadlifting herself over.
She did like Zaria nails her with something where you think Soul is gonna fall back, but instead uses her legs to then lift herself back up, and like I don't even know what kind of move this is, but like it's
skinning the cat essentially, right? Like it's the skin the cat move, but like on the ladder,
10 feet in the air up here on the top of a ladder, and then kicks Zaria off with this, and then again uses her strength to like bend all the way backwards. Very, very impressive. I thought this was nuts. If this wasn't enough, like this is where her special meter was blinking, because this was Soul Ruca going like Soul Snatcher mode here, with just going crazy at the end. It was nuts.
Yeah. So she then hits the Soul Snatcher off the ladder to Izzi Dame, Soul Snatcher to Thea Hale,
double Soul Snatcher,
double Soul Snatcher.
You get a Soul Snatcher, snatching souls.
Yes, and then Soul climbs the ladder, grabs the title, and is your new NXT Women's North American title in a really fun ladder match here. I thought all 6 delivered in this match. I think best Izzi Dames looked. I thought she stood out for me a little bit in this match, where I would have said she was the one I kind of had question marks being in this match. We mentioned Lola Vice just taking the brunt of this. She took some really nasty stuff here, so credit given to her. Some very innovative stuff from both Kelani and Izzi. Kelani and Soul here. I thought really fun ladder match. They came, they stood, they delivered.
Yeah, no, I really love this. This may have been one of my favorite matches of the weekend for sure. It was just so chaotic, and then my girl Soul Ruca surfs up, dude. Tubular. She won the title, and we got the Zaruca. We didn't get the breakup, which is good. Like they're still friends, you know. They're still kind of baby faces for now. We can eventually go back to that, but the Soul Crushers standing tall, hopefully. But the Soul killed it, man. That ladder finish, like bending back up to grab it, and then the Soul Snatchers everywhere. Like, yeah, I've been a fan since seeing what she can do on NXT for the last year and a half or 2 years, and it just feels like it's finally clicking. And as soon as anyone who watches just main roster sees this first time they see a Soul Snatcher, I think it's a done deal that she'll be like a pretty big star. But also not the first title she won this week. She's now 2-belt Soul. She's the Speed Champion.
She's Speed Champion
as well.
So, Candice LeRae, right?
Yeah, honestly, one of my favorite characters and wrestlers that on NXT every week. So I'm so happy that she won this thing. But I didn't expect her to win. I thought they would go with Zaria kind of turning on her, and it completely went the other way. But I think the right woman won. So I'm a huge Soul Ruca fan, and I can't wait to see how she goes with this title. I think we're gonna get some cool matches in the next few weeks and months of NXT. So really love this match. I thought all the women stood out. You mentioned Lola Vice just taking all of this. She's got to get a title opportunity, at least a match, because she took some crazy stuff. Yeah,
they kind of cooled off on Lola in the last few months. Heated her up a little bit for this match, but I like Lola Vice, and I think she earns a higher spot after this match. Match went 14 minutes 40 seconds. I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We go backstage where we see Gigi and Tatum celebrating their win. They say it's a dream come true. We've been busting our ass in NXT and TNA. Tatum says, we're so ready. but that means that there's a chance we might be facing our sweet doll Lyra. And then Gigi quotes Von Wagner saying, "Come Tuesday." This is our moment.
Come Tuesday is always our moment. Yes. Shout out Von Wagner. We miss you. I think we did get the Bailey attack, so I'm wondering what happens. Obviously, this could be data by the time anyone's listening to this because of what happens, but they keep teasing with the tag titles in NXT. I don't think they're gonna come back here.
So is Bailey off of Mania? Like what's?
I don't know. She got attacked or something. Maybe if Naomi did it. I don't know. Someone attacked Bailey. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We then get the video setting up the family versus DarkState, and I have to admit I love this video, kind of telling us about the family. My favorite bit was Luca Crucifino, my consigliere. I was watching him. He's a lawyer, and I knew I wanted him part of the family when he sued his opponent after his first match. He said
he's the only wrestler to have his first match, beat his opponent, and sue him for wasting his time. What a one-liner from Tony D. This whole video was Godfather, Goodfellas, Mafioso, like showing you the history of the family here in NXT, Rizzo, Tony, Stacks, Luca, and showing you a bit of like a highlight reel of like all the times, like they say, like so many families have challenged for our name. Like so many people, teams, wrestlers have challenged our family name and they've fallen short. So it's kind of showing like all the times the Mafia wars. We're going back. We're talking like Legato. We're talking all the different people who've tried to, put this family in the bottom of the ocean with the fishes, but haven't successfully done it. But will something happen tonight is the question.
Yes. So it's the family taking on DarkState, and let's get to it. The entrances start and the lights are still flashing for DarkState's entrance as they're all brawling right away, and this leaves Tony D'Angelo in the ring surrounded by DarkState as he's fighting all four of them up. The bell still hasn't ran yet because it's 4-on-3 at this point. The match eventually starts. We get a shadow machine from Stacks and Crucifino, and then Luca goes for a slingshot and eats this nasty forearm from Osiris Griffin. And then they send Crucifino back first into the steel apron, like they've exposed the steel here. And we see Crucifino's back is all taped up, so they're targeting the back. Stacks then comes in and is just like running shop here, taking everyone else out. But Tony is stood on the apron, almost looking like kind of pissed off by how well Stacks is doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Griffin then launches Stacks into the timekeeper's area. And then we get a body scissors from Saquon to Stacks as he's isolating him. Now they're gang up on Stacks as Tony is looking pissed. Eventually gets the tag. He's hitting spine busters all round. There's Saquon and Luca then suplex each other over the top rope to the floor. We get a jackhammer from Dion Lennox, and now everyone's down. On the outside, Cutler James picks up Crucifino and just spins him into the ring post. Looked pretty nasty. But then Rizzo comes off the top with a crossbody to the floor, allowing Stacks and Tony to hit the bada boom. Was it the bada bing, bada boom?
Yes.
And Stacks then says, "I got an idea." And Tony's looking unsure. And Stacks goes out and brings in the two crowbars. Tony puts it away and says, "No, we're not doing that. That's not my call." And then Saquon Sugars knocks Stacks into Tony.
Oh.
Tony comes back with a big spear to Sugars. And then Tony kisses Stacks on the cheek and launches him over the top rope into a conhilo, taking everyone down. And now Cutler goes to use the crowbar on Stacks, but the ref takes it away from him. And as he's putting that crowbar away, Stacks cracks Osiris in the head with the crowbar. And now Tony and Stacks hug. They seem to be on the same page. but Tony turns his back, and the first turn of the weekend, Stacks low blows Tony D'Angelo and says, "You never trust me, T. You never trust me." And Stacks walks out on the family, allowing DarkState to hit their toss into the power bomb, the kind of shield bomb here, to win the match. DarkState going over in 13 minutes, 13 seconds.
Yes, Tony D'Angelo walked in to Stand and Deliver like Joe Pesci in that one scene in Goodfellas. You know the one. They open the door like, "Oh, what's going on here?" It happened. Not giving anything away, but if you watch The Sopranos, we've been comparing Tony and Stacks to Tony and Christopher. And there's been a lot of comparisons and even legit lines from Sopranos that they've been using in this. And again, if you've watched Sopranos, you can put 2 and 2 together of what happened with Tony and Christopher. And this didn't happen the same way. They went the other way, which I think we kind of been calling for a while. That Stacks has been a bit of a he's stepped up, and he's been someone that we see something in this guy that, he's been tied to this family for this whole time and this character and everything, but he's really started to come into his own. And I think this is a step into the right direction. So we've been in Stacks' corner from day one. What would have been funny is Two Dimes making an appearance. If you remember, that's a deep NXT lore there, yes. 2.0 days. But I really liked the match was fine, and it had some fun moments and everything. And I think the DarkState guys, I think there's some work to be done still of how maybe serious we can treat these guys. They still, to me, look like the Temu Shield. They look like they're doing all the other stuff from all these other gimmicks when they seem pretty impressive in the ring. Even Dion Lennox hitting a jackhammer and some really cool stuff. So I do think there's still room for these guys to become something in NXT and take over. They won this match in their PLE debut and everything. But I'm kind of happy Stacks turned on Tony because we needed something to happen. We need something to happen with the family. So a pretty fun, decent match, but the story to come with what happens in Stacks and everything, we'll have to tune in on Tuesday to see.
Yeah, Chris Jones in the chat saying, "Sorry, but everyone seems desperate to shit on DarkState for no reason. They've been really good. Dion Lennox especially has star written all over him. These guys have been picked for a reason." Yeah, I kind of agree. I think in ring, they've all been impressive. I've been impressed with Saquon Sugar's kind of on the mic as well.
His promo game, yeah.
They've just been having a bit of an uphill battle. I don't think they were debuted in the best way. They kind of introduced them and then they disappeared for a few weeks and just seemed a little hot and cold. And then, as you say, how they're dressed like the Shield and kind of just a whole amalgamation of all these other factions we've seen in the last few years. But in ring, impressive. I thought the match was pretty fun. I don't really have anything negative. It was a little amdram and overbooked at the end with the turn, but I'm kind of pleased we got to it. I think this extends Tony D'Angelo's life a little bit in NXT before making the call up. We've been ready for a singles run for Stacks for quite a while because he has been impressing us. So Stacks versus Tony D, it doesn't necessarily need a title involved with it. I am going to go to the segment a little later where Stacks is leaving the arena and is asked, "Why would you turn your back on Tony and the family?"
Luca
when
chases
Luca
him, right?
chases him.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And Luca's asking, why did you do that? And he says, "I'll explain everything later. Keep your phone close. We'll talk on Tuesday." I would kind of like Stacks and Luca to stick together because I think I think Tony, when he eventually is called up, is perfectly fine on his own. You could introduce the rest of the family later down the line. And I think I'd like to see the singles run, but I think they're a pretty fun tag team as well. And we need tag teams too. So I wouldn't mind seeing Lucas stick around with Stacks in this whole turn. Shout out their gear. I thought Luca and Stacks, they're kind of matching
pinstripe
claret, pinstripe trunks were pretty nice.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Again, more mafia. Like he's trying to drive off. I love, I love wrestlers leaving the arena while still just like in their gear, driving shirtless.
With their shirt off. Yeah.
Better be careful. I know it's
Oh, yeah.
Vegas, but don't drive shirtless. Ask Rob Van Dam and Sabu about that. Don't. You're asking for it, but I mean it's Vegas. I'm sure you see people driving shirtless and having tigers in the front seat and all that stuff pretty commonly. But I'm interested to see where we go with Stacks and what's going to happen with the family. I think this could lead to eventually Tony leaving NXT and going up. And as silly as I think we, especially since all these years ago, where we're like, oh no, a mafia character, I think it would work on the main roster. I'll say it. I'll be the one to say, I think a mafia Italian superstar character will work on the main roster. And I'm interested to see where that goes down the line. And you know what? You're talking about DarkState. I think post-Mania is a great time to maybe focus on them. And, you know, a great way to focus on putting some steam behind this faction or stable is giving them some gold. So Hank and Tank, enjoy those titles while you can, because I think they might be going to the dark side pretty quickly.
Sure. We get a Hank and Tank interview where they say, before every match, we say the same thing. There's no one else I'd rather be in a tag team with than this guy, Tank, talking about Hank here. And no one else I'd rather win championships with. We came to NXT for championships, but I had no idea it would be with my brother. And we have these moments because of each other. And they're just celebrating here. It seemed very genuine moment between the two backstage.
Yeah, really, again, really happy for these guys, you know, winning some titles. And I'm sure they had times in their time in NXT like, are we, you know, the storyline was like, oh, we keep losing. But I'm sure in real life it was like, what is this that we're doing? But it eventually worked out for them. But I don't know how long this reign will be, but we'll see. Can't hear you.
We go to our NXT Women's Championship match. Stephanie Vaquer defending against Giulia, Jordynne Grace, and Jaida Parker. We have Giulia and Stephanie countering a double DDT from Jaida into like a DDT roundhouse kick combo. And now Stephanie and Giulia teaming up, taking out Jordynne Grace. And now Stephanie and Jordynne Grace are going at it with some really nice countering between the two, both going for like different roll-up pin attempts. There's then a tilt-a-wall into a roll-up from Vaquer. And then Jordynne Grace showing off her crazy impressive strength, having Giulia on one shoulder and Vaquer on the other shoulder, as Jaida Parker comes off the top with a blockbuster, like a doomsday blockbuster to both. This was kind of reminiscent of the Femi spot at Stand and Deliver last year. Just incredible strength from Jordynne Grace right here.
Like holding both women up while then Jaida does the blockbuster, and then they all kind of a new spin on the Tower of Doom spot, like we see all the time. But here,
and
it was like
very early on, they teased like the classic Tower of Doom spot. Yeah. They're like, no, we're not doing that.
But so like very impressive from Grace to hold each one on each shoulder, and then for Jaida to jump off. I thought this was pretty good. And then you had Booker T on commentary talking about submissions, and Vic was like, "Oh yeah, Booker, yeah, tell me about your submissions. Yeah, tell me what submissions have you won matches with?" And even Booker was like, "Fuck, I don't know what submissions I've done," and he shuts up.
Stephanie goes for the Devil's Kiss. Her like head stomp.
Oh, we know, Dave. Oh, we know the move. The best move. This is the story of this match is there's 4 women, and Stephanie keeps trying to go for this move, and it keeps getting blocked, which, of course, Chekhov's gun. If you keep teasing the Devil's Kiss, you know when she finally hits it, this crowd is going to wake up, and that's exactly what will happen.
So Grace counters this into a cartwheel DVD. There's then a jackhammer from Grace to Vaquer, and then this beautiful, like, double German Northern Lights suplex combo to Giulia and Jaida from Jordynne Grace here. Looked incredible. Giulia then Matrix escapes a strike and headbutts Jaida. And now Stephanie and Giulia are right back at it. They're trading forearms, trading headbutts. There's repeated headbutts from Giulia to the back of the head of Vaquer that gets some boos from this crowd. And then And then Stephanie going for the Devil's Kiss again, which Giulia counters, robbing us again of this move. There's then the surfboard stomp, but Jaida and Jordynne both break up the pin attempt here. And now Parker gets in control. She stacks all three women on the second rope and hits a triple teardrop, butt drop on all three, doing her high step. And then we get a double submission from Giulia and Vaquer as they both have locked in a Muda lock and octopus stretch here. Very nice looking spot. Vaquer then starts cleaning house with Meteoras all round. There's a dragon screw in the ropes to Giulia. And then she finally traps Giulia with the Devil's Kiss.
Here it is.
Booker's losing his mind. We're getting Booker T chants. And then my favorite sign in the crowd, the fire emoji signs, but with ha, ha, ha.
As like half the crowd are chanting Booker T, half the crowd are doing the and then it cuts to those two guys holding up the signs. We both started howling out loud. One of the best signs and camera shots of the weekend for sure. But again, they tease this move. And then all of a sudden, now she's hitting it not once, not twice, but I think on all three of them at one point. Yeah. She's doing this move in like, it's so fucking funny. Like, this is a move that has gotten the world together. Stephanie Vaquer's Devil's Kiss. Is this what she's calling
Devil's
this move?
Kiss, yes.
What a great name for this move. So I thought she was calling it the Devil's Earmuffs, as I think we were calling it. But the Devil's Kiss has brought wrestling fans together. Enough with the tribalism. We can all agree that this is the greatest move in wrestling right now, and the crowd losing it for this, and Booker T as well.
So Vaquer gets this locked in on all three women at one point and then sets up for the SVB, but it gets countered into a backslide from Giulia right into the Arrivederci knee, which sends Stephanie to the outside. Giulia then turns into the Juggernaut driver from Grace. She's going for the pin, but this gets broken up with the hypnotic. We shit on this move. I thought this breakup looked great.
It looked great, yeah.
This looked really good here. There's then a roll-up from Giulia for a near fall, but then the hypnotic to Giulia, breaking that up. And then Stephanie comes off the top with a spiral tap, breaking up the pin, and then picks up Jaida Parker, hitting her with the SVB, and Stephanie Vaquer retains the NXT Women's title in 16 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, again, NXT Women's Division, you've heard it all the time. They reference the best women's roster in wrestling. It's completely true. Like, this was nonstop action for the whole time. Shout out Jordynne Grace, TNA. But like, just every second of this match, there was something going on, and all four of them just intertwining with the different moves. We mentioned like the combo moves, the quadruple spots off the top and everything. It was really fun, and I'm loving Stephanie Vaquer. The only weak spot in Stephanie Vaquer's game is that finishing move, the SVB. Yeah. I do not think that looks like a finisher. It doesn't look like anything really, but on top, like, I can put that aside. I just think she is all around the best, one of the best wrestlers right now in WWE, and they have hit like jackpot. They have struck gold with having her part of their division and their roster. And when the second Stephanie Vaquer shows up on the main roster, Chile is going to stand up for Vaquer, and I think she's going to be a huge star. And I thought this was great. Giulia, Steph, Jordynne, and Jaida, all of them. I think we imagined Stephanie versus Jordynne was going to be the match, and then Giulia came back, and we're like, okay, she's never injured in the first place. They just decided to go with Stephanie, and regardless, I thought this was a whole lot of fun with all of them. And Jaida Parker being added into this, she's completely stepped up as well, and here she is wrestling like veterans, and she completely stood and delivered. She could hang with them in this match, and I thought there was some great action. Again, the women really did deliver for me on this show, and I got into this, and I'm happy Stephanie retained. I think we kind of saw that coming because of the multi-person match. You could easily go to some of the singles matches, and when we do go to Jordynne versus Stephanie, I can't wait for that one-on-one encounter. But yeah, really fun match. And did anyone check on Booker T? Was he okay after this Devil's Kiss? Because she did it 3 times in this match.
Awesome match. I mean, we had 18 women on this show, and and all of them kind of absolutely delivered. It just shows how solid this roster is. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought the right person won in Stephanie Vaquer. It's still very early into her run. It's a multi-woman match. We're saving. We can still get that Jordynne Grace singles match. I think there's definitely another match with Giulia down the line we can have. But I just thought some really great kind of, near falls here. Some cool looking double team moves with that kind of double doomsday blockbuster and the submission spots and all that. I thought everyone stepped up in this match. I thought it was very entertaining.
No, absolutely. I really love Stephanie Vaquer coming into NXT and WWE. I think she's really flipped. She's become the flag bearer of this women's division instantly for me. And I mean, they went with their double champ and then gave the one away. But there's some big matches eventually, like Io versus Stephanie. I can't wait till we get Vaquer versus Io Sky. Like, that would be crazy. I know that was it Charlotte and Tiffany also did the Devil's Kiss in their WrestleMania match, and like Charlotte's been using that move for a long time as well. But Stephanie definitely made it her own, and definitely now has become the move everyone wants to see and brings signs for to the shows. So yeah, honestly, a lot of fun. I can't tell really what my favorite match of the show was, but the women just stood out to me. I think maybe the main event, but I think the women really like had me like, wow, look at some of this like crazy stuff and innovative stuff that we got on the show. Even the pre-show match, like that was high fun, like just high octane and go. And I thought even this one, like, yeah, I loved this Stand and Deliver more than last year's, but the women, I thought in the ladder match and this 4-way was just, again, the action just didn't stop. So yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah, loved it. We go backstage where Lexis King is still looking for
for fuck's sake,
Heritage Cup. At this point, he got rid of the rules, so let's just get rid of this cup now. It means nothing.
Is that the way we get Penn and Teller, or the way the Heritage Cup?
Yeah, they're purists. They're like, sorry, but this is a cup meant for European rounds style wrestling, and you just did away with that. So poof.
Yeah, Penn and Teller are really big fans of NXT UK, and they hate what Lexis King has done with the cup.
Exactly. We go to the main event. It's the NXT Championship. Femi defending his title against Trick Williams and Javon Evans. Javon starts things off with this huge springboard, but gets caught by Trick and Oba. Oba then takes both down with a huge clothesline. Javon drop kicks Oba as Trick low bridges him, allowing Javon and Trick to start going at it. And then Javon goes for a leg sweep, and Trick Williams does this backflip, landing on his feet, kind of showing, oh yeah, I can be bouncy too. I don't think I've seen Trick do this before, but very impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive. Like, it was like, oh yeah, you're bouncy, I can do this too, essentially. And it was a good standoff. Will Ospreay Ricochet right here. Javon and Trick.
Trick then goes for his leg lap, but Javon kind of matrix escape / keep ups out of the way of it. And then Femi comes in and hits a double Samoan drop to both guys. Very impressive. Hits a military press into a gut buster. And then Javon comes off with this crazy springy bouncy phenomenal forearm to Oba. And then Oba gets Javon up for a Oba gets Trick up for a doomsday device. Javon gonna leap off to take him out, but Trick counters into a Rana, and then Trick manages to take Oba down with the leg lariat, and he's saying this is kind of reminiscent of WrestleMania 20 here, where now Trick turns to Javon and he's like, let's gang up, let's take him out, and then it's you and me, motherfucker. So Javon is down for this. However, Trick changes his mind and leaps off of Oba's back as Javon springboards, hitting Trick with a knee in midair. Impressive spot here. Trick then delivers a high cross to both guys on the outside, and Javon hits a bouncy moonsault to the outside, taking both guys out, landing on his feet.
Yeah, very impressive. Like the way this, like his gimmick is he's bouncy, and he really is. He bounces on the bottom rope, the middle rope, the top rope, like all he's not just a top rope bouncy kind of guy. He uses all the different ropes to bounce, and
all the ropes.
Yeah, he's flying everywhere.
Oba then gets Trick Williams up in the electric chair as Trick delivers a superplex to Javon as Oba is kind of marching them around the ring. Just incredible strength here. Oba Femi carrying both guys here. Nuts. Femi is then delivering spine busters to both, like the one-handed double spine buster. And then Oba is doing his running uppercuts in the corner, but gets caught with one of Trick's spinning kicks. Javon then hits his Osprey-esque rebound flippy spin kick here, and then the 5-star frog splash, but as he lands, gets caught by the throat by Oba.
Yeah, it was like a 1 count, and Oba kicks out at 1 and then like grabs him by the throat and like looks at him like the Undertaker here. And then also like the Undertaker, he goes to chokeslam Javon and shout out WrestleMania 21, the Randy Orton RKO counter to the chokeslam here. Looked really nice.
Look great. Javon then goes for his springboard cutter, but gets caught. But then Javon counters that into a sliced bread for a 2 count. Hits his triple jump cutter, but gets caught with this crazy uppercut from Femi. And then Femi going for the pin, but Trick drags Oba out of the ring to break it up. And then Javon delivers a body slam to Oba, managing to pick him up. This time lands the triple jump cutter. 1, 2, kick out. And then I think Trick might have been out of position because it looked like as Oba was going, as Javon was going for this pin, that they kind of readjusted themselves with the ref, because then, so Oba just kicks out anyway. But then the pinfall's already happened, and Trick just drags the ref out anyway. He's like, fuck you, ref.
Like I think he was supposed to pull the ref to break the pin, but he realized he wasn't close enough, so they pivoted, which was good. It shows that they're on top of it essentially. There wasn't a botch or anything by any means, but Trick is like, fuck you, ref, and just throws him out anyways. I thought that was pretty funny.
Javon then counters the fall from grace into a head scissors to the outside, and then Oba launches Javon into the barricade and then charges him, just putting him through this thing. Trick Williams hits the bookend to Oba through the table and then delivers the trick shot to Javon. However, the referee is down. It was all your own doing, Trick.
Yeah, why did you could have won if you didn't attack the referee.
So then the ref wakes up, crawls into the ring to make the count, but Oba Femi is holding the ref by the ankles. And I think this ref was watching Rick Knox at Dynasty just no-sell his way through that triple threat match, because this ref is like, no, fuck off, and kicks Oba Femi in the face.
Yeah,
so
it was a funny moment, but like Oba Femi would kill this guy. So why is this ref getting like these shots in at your champion? I did think that was a little weird, but again, I was laughing at it. So really, it should have been Trick. Like, because Trick was the one to pull him out the first time. So really, this ref has just had enough of this nonsense. Maybe more refs need to be like this guy, because he was like, no, I'm making sure I get this pinfall. It's like, okay, man.
So Oba breaks up the pin, and now Oba and Trick are trading blows. And then there's a double cutter from Javon to Oba. Trick, there's the trick shot to Javon, and then fall from grace from Oba to Trick on top of Javon. Another fall from grace. 1, 2, 3. Oba Femi retains in 16 minutes, 58 seconds.
Yeah, a really fun main event that had, again, not a second of like downtime, where it was just nonstop back and forth between all three of them. The multi-person matches, they've really hit a stride, not just in NXT and WWE, like wrestling as a whole. I think we figured out like we don't need to do chin locks and rest holds in multi-person matches, because we have the bored here of so many things that we could be doing in, in 15 minutes or so. So I think this was my match of the night because it was just so much going on. Oba is the big powerhouse. Javon is the jumpy, like young, flippy kind of guy. And then Trick is somewhere in the middle there where it's like they were doing like Oba lifting both of them, or Trick power slamming him, or rock bottoming, bookending him through the table. Like there was a good combination of the different styles that all seem to mesh really well. And I think Trick really stepped up. I think the argument from the past year has been like maybe Trick wasn't hitting like we kind of usually expect from, someone who's in this main event scene, and the pivot to not having Trick versus Oba one-on-one. I'm not quite sure why we didn't go that, but we've been saying in the last few weeks, like adding Javon to this match will make it a way more exciting match, so much that we were like, hey, why wouldn't you just give the 20-year-old the title? Not yet. I do think his moment will come maybe in a year or so, but Javon will be NXT champion, and he's a bit of a secret weapon when it comes to NXT. Is the second Javon showed up on TV, we were like, oh, who is this guy? And has become one of, if not my favorite character and wrestler to watch on NXT week to week. And adding him to this match, exactly what we knew what would happen. He made it a banger. He made it like him and Oba one-on-one is going to go crazy when we get to that. But I thought this was so much fun with the different variations of moves and stuff. And then that ref kick to the face of Oba's got a gripe with the ref on Tuesday. He's going to beat the shit out of that guy. Receipt coming, ref, even though he retained. But honestly, a really fun match, and would definitely say go out of your way to check it out.
Yeah, this is my match of the night. I thought it was awesome. There's, some criticisms for the amount of multi-person matches this Mania weekend, but I think this was a match that absolutely should be a triple threat. It was so much better because of it. I just thought, I think whoever agents, I've said this before, but whoever agents these like multi-person matches in NXT has been doing a great job, because they always deliver for me. I think the triple threat at last year's Stand and Deliver was the highlight of that show. And I thought this one as well, just some absolutely crazy spots. That kind of electric chair superplex was just nuts. Some great near falls, and just all three leveled up. They felt like stars with this crowd. This crowd knew exactly who all three people were. The whoop that chick trick chants, the who for Oba Femi. I thought it was electric. And so far it seems like a lot of people feel the same. It's got a 9.10 on Cage Match so far. Which, wow. Early days, but yeah, very, very high rating. Just felt like this was an earned kind of takeover-esque main event on NXT. I absolutely love this match.
Yeah, it did feel like that. And I see we have a super chat from Cyclops is better than Wolverine. I have an issue with that name, but I'll continue. He says Trick really beat the can't graps allegations. Yeah, that's what I was kind of referencing. Is like, you had a bit of a rough year, because it was like every time I feel like he didn't have a big match like this. But again, you added in the excitement of the three different guys here going back and forth. It really did make for the match. And I feel like Trick has done everything in NXT at this point, and I really don't like Mello don't Miz. So Trick and Mello, hey, you guys worked together well once before. I think we could get the gang back together. I think they work really well together. But honestly, a really fun main event, one of the better Trick matches in his career, maybe his best in NXT. And the same with Oba, same with Javon. Like really, really fun.
Sorry, I'd say for Trick, the only thing I'd compare would be the Ilya Dragunov matches. Yeah. But other than that, this is, I think, is easily his best match.
And Oba, we kind of were like, if he loses, he could go to the main roster. I think we keep him down here for a little bit, and eventually we do have the Javon Oba one-on-one. We still never got the Trick Oba one-on-one match that we might just not go to at this point. So we'll see where we go with title challengers in the next few PLE rotations.
I feel we could do just either we've got a Battleground announced for, I think, May 25th.
Sunday, May 25th, Battleground in Tampa, everybody, and down in Florida. They will be doing a Sunday show Shout out Sunday shows.
Shout out Sunday shows.
So we will be doing that when that happens. But May 25th, Battleground in Tampa. Do we do Javon versus Oba one-on-one?
Yeah, like I'm thinking Javon Oba makes a whole lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
You could heat up Wesley, who was, not on this show, which I think Wesley was kind of missed on this, but you could absolutely build that, like Oba as the baby face against Wes there. I'm wondering, I feel like in a couple of weeks we could have a kind of supercard NXT show with maybe, Cora Jade versus Roxanne, Tony v Stacks, and Trick versus Javon potentially, and it could be a farewell for 3 of those acts, because I think Roxanne, Tony, and Trick should be moving up.
Yes, I do think Trick. Sorry, who did you say? Trick, Tony, and
Trick, and Roxanne.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Roxanne, really had a run in NXT, and now we have Stephanie, Giulia, Jordynne. Like, we have a lot going on where the main roster could really use Roxanne post-Mania. So I'm excited to see, because they did a weird, like, hey, we're going to put her on TV, but I didn't like the stuff they did with Tiffany. I think that kind of like little sistered Roxanne in a weird way there, where hopefully they can get on track. And I think once she clicks for a lot of people on the main roster, it will. There's a lot of people right now that we've watched really put in the work, like a Roxanne, even a Trick. Like, I think as soon as he starts cutting some promos on SmackDown I think it'll work. I think same with Tony, the Mafia character, I do think will work on the main roster. The question will always be, would Chase U work on the main roster? And we'll never really know that. Shout out Duke. But I really like this show. For us, it was 1 p.m., but like 10 a.m. is a lot to ask for people. Shout out to all the people who put this show on. Vic Joseph, again, referencing that their call time seemed to be 5 a.m. or something like that, which is insane. Putting together
the crew would have been there even earlier.
Yeah,
someone in the chat was saying, think what time the women would have been doing their makeup that call time as well. Like,
exactly,
crazy early. Yeah.
Shout out everyone who put this together, because it felt like at the beginning, it was like the people who were there, 8,000 or so strong, were like, okay, we're here. And then by the main event, they were roaring and losing their minds. So it really, I'd say it would be worth it for anyone who did make the trek. Because again, if you're trying to go to this and then WrestleMania, that is a very long day. That is a lot of expensive beers. And you did it if you did it. And you had to make it to the other show. But I'd say this was worth it. And I think maybe a question people will be asking, what was the better triple threat coming out of Saturday? And
maybe we'll getting into that. Yeah.
Maybe wrestling wise, this one could have been. But honestly, I had a feeling, we both had a feeling that this show would deliver, and they delivered. And shout out to Shawn Michaels and NXT down there, because I thought they made it feel like the old days, where it's like, oh, what was the better show, NXT or the main roster? So Shawn, shout out Shawn Michaels, we love you. This was a really fun NXT show, one of the better ones. Like, they've been good. I know NXT still has this like this stink to it, right? The 2.0 stink. I'll say, like, people still, we hang out, we did our watch parties and stuff. Not everybody watches NXT. People still seem to like not know who certain NXT people are when they get called up and stuff. But quietly, NXT has had some fun stuff. Like, maybe the TV week to week can be spotty and stuff, but they really have been hitting home hard with these PLEs. And this one, kicking it out the gate. This is going to be one of the ones we talk about. It's going to be tough for NXT to top this one this year with the PLEs. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching.
Yeah. I thought top to bottom a great show. Like, I recommend the whole thing, including the kickoff. I mean, if you want to skip through your commercials, video packages, Penn and Teller, etc., you could get through this show in probably 90 minutes, and very enjoyable. I highly recommend. If I had to like pick, I'd say the two, like the women's title and the NXT title, well worth watching. Like, very strong stuff. But even the lower stuff on this show was good. Like, I enjoyed DarkState versus the Family, and that would be on like the bottom of it for me, but not to say it was bad. I thought everything was highly enjoyable. Really recommend this show, and I thought kicked off the whole like WWE WrestleMania weekend as far as the wrestling goes in a really strong way. We do have a super chat as well from Magan in the chat, who says, Stand and Deliver made me jump out of my couch. I'll tell you right now, Javon Evans will be NXT champion this year. A major level up from last year's. Completely agree.
Yeah, absolutely. They did announce, I mentioned Tampa, Sunday, May 25th, Battleground. But we can talk about some other news coming out of NXT Stand and Deliver, or I guess WWE from April 19th. Saturday, Davey, are you ready for a Saturday show? 3 p.m. Eastern Time, June 7th in Los Angeles at the Kia Forum. Worlds Collide, WWE, NXT, and AAA doing a joint show. And we were like, wow, look at this WWE NXT working with AAA. Oh,
so now we've got NXT and AAA, NXT and AAA.
We'll workshop that, but yes,
yeah.
Only for that news to be like, oh look, they're gonna do this show on Saturday, June 7th, NXT versus AAA. Wow, that's pretty cool. Only for a few hours later to learn that WWE has acquired AAA Wrestling.
Crazy. Yeah, I remember Nick Khan, I think it was talking about, the goal is eventually to have like WWE wrestling every day of the week, and was mentioning we could be doing our own lucha show and stuff like that. It seems like AAA is that. Seeing Vikingo on WrestleMania, just
insane,
kind of wild. But yeah, we'll see. Chris Jones pointing out they've already shortened his name. He's not El Hijo Vikingo. He's just Vikingo. We'll see. I hope kind of they don't have their fingers all over it, and they kind of let AAA run it and be what they have been and want to be and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But allowing cross promotion and that kind of thing. The Worlds Collide just sounds great. And I kind of, as much as I'd like FRAXIOM to move up, I would love to see FRAXIOM versus any of this AAA talent.
Absolutely.
That show.
The big question for me, Davey, what is going to happen to Triple Mania? What's going to happen? Is Triple Mania just going to be good now? Is Triple Mania not going to be the thing that I watch every year? And
yeah, it still needs to be car crash and terrible with
Vampiro. Hit my music.
I'd say I'd be surprised if Alberto holds that title much longer.
Get him out of there. Get him out of there.
You got to get him gone.
You. No, thank you.
Andrade needs to get away from Charlotte, I'm guessing. So, ship him over there.
We have a super chat again from Cyclops is better than Wolverine. Still questioning that name. He says, "Give me Mr. Iguana versus Gunther ASAP." Oh, I love Mr. Iguana. Mr. Iguana, the Iguana man. If you can listen deep in our Patreon archives a few years ago, we did a best match ever Triple Mania, where we did a great playlist of all of the years of the best matches. Yes, there are some good stuff from Triple Mania over the years, and we did a deep dive into some lucha. We love our lucha here at Poison Rana. So, wow, I'm kind of excited about this. But you know what? I worry about the importance of Lucha Libre, and AAA has been, up and down through the years. Isn't that a big thing? Could this change some of the luchas? They run shows all over the place and all the time. Will this stay the same? Will the operations run? Doesn't that lucha is a big part of the culture down there? And I'm hoping that WWE just don't crush that, and all of a sudden it costs so much money to go to shows, and then the guy selling tacos in these arenas start upcharging and everything. Will this affect things down there? Of course, we're up here in Canada.
It's always a worry, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're seeing the concern with the the ID talent, and WWE having to put out tweets like, "Hey, you can book this talent. Don't worry, right. we won't interfere." I hope it's more pumping money into it and allowing these cool crossovers that we can get, and some talent swaps and that sort of thing, rather than like still let them run their stuff their own way.
It's crazy
like,
because
you're not having Triple H booking this, but I will say they've made a real like visible effort of bolstering their lucha division on TV. Both Raw and SmackDown have lucha stars all over it, and I think Phoenix and Penta, watching the handling of them would maybe give faith that Triple H could be handled correctly.
It's crazy, like Ray Phoenix and Penta, especially Penta, but no, both of them were huge in AAA in the last few years. Like when I would watch, like Penta was the lucha god over there, taking people's masks and souls and everything, and I fucking loved it. Does AAA own Lucha Underground?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So wouldn't that mean now WWE owns Lucha Underground? We can get the temple back. We get that on the network. Netflix has a little Lucha Underground tab there and everything.
Like, I mean, that venue is. I'd love to see NXT run that venue for another crossover event would be very cool.
I'm interested in this, and I hope it works out for the best, and I hope it doesn't hurt or change and everything of some of the culture, the lucha culture. But AAA and Conan and stuff, it seems like they've been a little spotty and iffy, and it's funny because we had AEW and Tony Khan do the stuff with TNA and then do the stuff with AAA, and then fast forward, WWE is now got TNA and then got AAA. It's just funny following the footsteps. It didn't work out with those guys. Yeah, we'll just buy you. I've been saying for years that is exactly what Triple H is going to do, and I don't know how long TNA will go, but WWE will own them at one point.
Will we be getting AAA on Netflix? What is the distributing rights? I don't think it's on broadcast, is it in the States? So
I don't know. I know that certain cable channels up here do sometimes air certain AAA stuff. At least they used to. And then the YouTube channels, and there's certain channels that you can access it for free.
When it's come to Triple Mania, we've been watching it off of Lucha Blog, Cubs fans Twitch stream and that kind of thing, because it hasn't been available here. So that would be cool to see.
Them announcing a PLE, I definitely was tipping off that something was happening. Triple H is saying, "Don't worry, there's going to be some shows in Mexico," which is crazy. We have the Arena Mexico show 2 nights with AEW doing the joint thing with CMLL, and then the second night is all these different promotions one night. So it's a bit of a forbidden door kind of thing. And then now you got WWE with AAA, so it's pretty cool that we got all this lucha stuff, and it makes me think in the next year or so we got to do I know you're going to Mexico this upcoming week, but for not wrestling, brother, we got to go some wrestling down there. I want to eat some tacos. We were walking around with our lucha masks last night, but I hope this is a good thing for wrestling, and I if it makes AAA more accessible and more eyes on it, then let's go for it. And just means Conan got another job. Shout out Conan. Isn't he a lucky guy? That Conan. Also, hey bro, do you listen to my podcast? Yeah. The message he sends everyone. Shout out Conan.
I send him the same one back. I once in a while I just message Conan. Hey man, do you listen to my podcast?
I hope it works out and we can see where this goes. And that first show, that Worlds Collide kind of thing, I think will be an indication. And it's a 3 p.m. show. A lucha 3 p.m. show on a Saturday. All right, I can deal with that. But yeah, fun, interesting stuff going on with WWE. I just love that we were setting up our event yesterday, and that was just the talk of everybody walking into our event. Did you see WWE just bought AAA? And people were like, "What? What do you mean? What does that mean?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's crazy stuff." Yeah.
A lot of news. I guess it was a year ago, wasn't it? It was WrestleMania last year. We got the TKO.
Right, of course. Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, let's give some quick thoughts on WrestleMania before we get out of here, because I do need some salty bacon to help me through the rest of this day. But yeah, WrestleMania Saturday, WrestleMania Night 1 in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Allegiant Stadium. I thought this set looked fucking gorgeous. The huge casino style. I love a long ramp. But those
you did.
Those like hanging screens that were like moving in and out, which had like the faces of all the wrestlers and stuff on, I thought looked stunning.
And
great.
The VIP seating, did you see part of the stage had seats in it that people had tickets to? The seating was like in it. So imagine your view is like on top of that. That's crazy. That's some crazy stuff. Yeah, the stage looked awesome. Everything, the production of this show was top notch. Like WrestleMania does feel like Super Bowl, even bigger. They try to push it so much, but like they put so much into it, and you can see why. Like there's a lot of people there, people roaring, and the production side of it looked awesome. The stage looked great. You want to just go through the card briefly and give quick thoughts on everything? We don't have to go full depth, but
yeah, we started Jey Uso defeating Gunther via submission. A bit of a surprising finish there. Like it was kind of expected. I think Jey winning, nice moment at the end, him and his brother. I thought the match was good. It didn't reach that level that I was hoping. I was really expecting blood for this one after doing that angle with Jimmy.
Right.
This didn't quite click with me as much as I was hoping. I thought it should have been more of a devastating beatdown on Jey Uso leading up to that comeback. And as cool as his entrance was as well, with the yeet flags and that, I was kind of expecting a bigger like yeet to kick off Mania. So wasn't bad, but I was a little underwhelmed by this match.
I think like Jey Uso has hit this popularity of like everyone thinks, hey, he deserves this moment, and he does. And it was a great moment, a great WrestleMania moment. I don't think the match hit necessarily for me that well, but at the same time, I'm happy that he got this moment. So I've been saying, we have someone in the chat saying it, but like I've been saying that he should win and then lose it pretty quickly because of some of the things that happened later on. But I'm happy that he got the moment and everything, but it I wouldn't necessarily go back and watch this match.
I didn't like seeing Gunther tap that easily.
Yeah.
Well. They were going for the like Ilya Dragunov like match, but Dragunov blocking that sleeper, making it. No, but that was the finish, right? Like it was Dragunov kept losing, and then he chokes him out, and Gunther's like frantically tapping, and they were going through that for that. But instead of that moment being like, "Wow, he did it," it was like, "Sorry, you tapped to that."
It was.
I just felt there could have been a bit more violence and like more of a beatdown of Jay to lead to that moment. I was underwhelmed, unfortunately.
I'm happy for the bloodline. Like this is a cool thing, you know. Son of Rikishi being world champion here in WWE. It's a cool moment. I can't deny that, and I'm super happy for that. But the match didn't necessarily hit for me. And are they going to go with a reverse streak for Gunther? He's just going to lose at every WrestleMania. I mean, this is his second one, right? And he's lost.
Second in a row, yeah. The problem is he's too good of a villain, right? And the thing is, it's you know, stories, it's good overcomes evil at the end. So it kind of unfortunately has peaked for him 2 years in a row where you're so good at being this final boss that you have to lose at WrestleMania.
He will be completely fine. We will have more of a run from Gunther. Like he's going to be one of the big guys, I think, carrying this company in the next few years. Like he's had an incredible run, so he'll be. I
wonder if we ever see a babyface run for him. Like
I'd be curious
to see what that looks like. But like Seth versus Gunther down the line, I'm with you in the chat where I think, you know, even as early as Backlash, Seth Rollins should win this.
Yeah, from Jay.
Seth should beat Jay, and then we build to like Seth and Gunther down the line would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
We then had the New Day defeating the War Raiders to become the World Tag Team Champions. I'm kind of confused why this was on the show and not the TLC match with the teams you've actually been building. This to me was a Raw match. I know New Day are like, they're a main event tag team act. They're a big deal. I get why you'd want to have them on the show, but they really called them off with that initial heat from the heel turn. And I didn't think a whole lot of this match, to be honest. And the War Raiders looked fucking ridiculous coming out in their silly hats on the entrances as well. So
maybe Vikingo can join them.
Yes, sure. What
didn't
were
care
your
about this.
thoughts?
No, this was a Raw match that I didn't. I didn't care for this, and it did make me the tease of the TLC that we're getting on SmackDown next week. It's like, why wouldn't you just do that on this show? It's so bizarre, so bizarre. Not hating. Hey, Xavier Woods actually won a match at WrestleMania, but like not hating that they won and had this match, but like just kind of
This
weird.
should have been Raw. This should be on the Raw after Mania in a bigger spot. And unless you were doing like a Big E appearance, which I'd have understood why you'd want it, they didn't. It was kind of, oh, okay, that they won. That's it. Really didn't meet that next gear, unfortunately. And then we had Jade Cargill defeating Naomi in what I thought was actually a pretty good match. I thought this felt very rehearsed. Like you can see they've been putting a lot of work in this. There were some very ambitious spots, but pulled off pretty nicely. I thought that kind of counter into the like wheelbarrow bulldog off the top rope looked awesome from Naomi. The finish, that crazy like spinning powerbomb that Jade did right before Jade did, I thought looked great. I thought this was Jade Cargill's best match she's had. They've clearly put a lot of time and work into this to make it happen. Don't get me wrong, not my favorite match on the show, but I thought with the video package hyping up this feud, I thought the entrances and the match, I was kind of into this one.
I like that we had a story involving some women that just wasn't like a title, and it made sense to have like this feud. I think this match was better than Jay and Gunther.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't necessarily like this match. Don't get me wrong. I didn't really care for it, but I think I got into it a little bit more than Jey Uso and Gunther, which is absolutely crazy. So it's cool that Jade won. She looks like a superstar, right? Like just her entrance there with the weather report and everything was pretty funny. And I guess we'll see where we go with her. I still didn't think like the wrestling necessarily from Jade, but the story here was a big deal. I think Naomi should have won though.
I agree.
Maybe gripe, but yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot in this Naomi character, and I would have liked to have seen Naomi.
Yeah, I think she should have won.
But credit to Jade, I think by far the best match we've seen her do. We then had Jacob Fatu defeating LA Knight for the US Championship in fun match. Again, could have been maybe on a SmackDown or a Raw. I like Jacob Fatu a lot. I think it's cool to see him. You know, he was in the crowd cheering on the Usos last year at WrestleMania, and now he's at WrestleMania winning a title. Is pretty cool. Ambitious, what was it? Like a moonsault into the blunt force trauma, which looked questionable, but I liked the ambition there. But yeah, kind of, it was fine. Nothing to write home about, but it wasn't necessarily bad either. But I was like, this was fine. This was okay.
I'm really happy Fatu won a title. Like LA Knight, I think he's someone that's still so popular, but we don't know what to do with him because we don't want to make him the guy, but like we don't know what, like I think he's still really popular and I think he'll be fine. And I'm sure we can go into some stories with him down the line. But Fatu, man, like as soon as your eyes go upon this guy, you're like, oh, this guy's interesting. This guy's weird and cool and crazy. And the only time in history a man comes out with a werewolf mask and somehow he's scarier when he takes it off.
Yeah.
The Samoan werewolf. So super happy about this guy. This guy will be a main eventer of WrestleMania in the future. So I didn't necessarily care for this match too much, but I'm really happy that Fatu won this. He's someone instantly you see him and you become a fan. So it was fine, but I'm happy that he got his moment. Samoans all over this thing winning. Tonight.
We then had El Grande Americano defeating Rey Fenix, who was replacing an injured Rey Mysterio, in a pretty fun match. But for me, the highlight of this match was the reverse 450.
A double moon.
El Grande Americano. Yeah, this was crazy. Like it was a moonsault into a back senton and looked like it broke every single rib in Rey Fenix's body.
Clearly, Davey, you haven't followed up on your Mexican lucha. This Grande Americano usually does this in every match back in the day.
Okay, I'm with you.
In these indie matches, this is usually his finisher. But Crazy move. I think the only gripe was I kind of wanted this to go even more. I wanted it to get a little crazier, and they only went like 5 or 10 minutes or something. But
it was 7 minutes they went.
It was pretty fun, and it's so crazy to see Rey Fenix get a WrestleMania match and moment. Yeah, he lost, but like, fuck, like that's how crazy you could see the excitement. He was soaking it in that he's like, holy shit, I'm replacing Rey Mysterio for a lucha match. I think we need to stretch this Grande Americano out because it's pretty successful. I think it's working, but also it was like, you kind of needed to see some sort of the stuff with the lucha and the AAA, I guess, worked in with the Vikingo afterwards and stuff. So I thought Vikingo was like injured, like seriously. I guess he's back, but like we will go to that match eventually. They're going to stretch this out that this guy is like disrespecting lucha culture and all this stuff to eventually lead to that Rey Mysterio will come back and hopefully he's okay and everything. But I liked the running Rey Fenix PK into the mask, and then he's selling it, and I was like, why is he selling this? And I think you yelled at me. He's like, his mask is loaded. I was like, oh, of course, yes, the loaded mask thing. So I'm interested to see more of Grande, but a pretty fun little quick match.
Yeah, I wonder if Rey was healthy, whether they'd have ended the story and have Rey win. But we were saying in our prediction show, like, there's so much more juice in this El Grande Americano character that it would be too early to end this. And I think having run the gauntlet with all these luchadors, you could even, peak this at a show in Mexico or something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Think of the heat, brother. you get booed down there with this. Do one of those AI videos again. Like, I see the criticism on this, but like he's supposed to be a bad guy. So like, and they have changed it to the Gulf of Mexico again, which like, why don't you just call it Gulf of America, considering he's a heel, right?
When is the next Triple Mania meant to be?
Can't come soon enough, but he should show up at that show. The champion, take it from Del Rio.
August 16th is the next one. Like, if you can, I don't know if it's got the legs to go that far.
Yeah.
But Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano in a mask versus mask match.
Triple Mania.
And
then Hugo will blade somehow.
And then Hugo will bleed everywhere. But yeah, fun stuff. And then we go to Tiffany Stratton defeating Charlotte Flair in 90 minutes, 5 seconds. Both coming out in very similar gear. I think on purpose to have you look like, oh, these women are kind of the same.
Blondie.
I got into this. I think the feud has been all over the place. Very happy to see Tiffany win this one. I thought there were a couple of spotty moments throughout it, but like overall, I got into this match.
Yeah. You know what? I think the final stretch of it was really good. I think it was a little rocky around the edges. The best thing to happen to this was that train wreck segment a few weeks ago that had everyone talking and got the juice going for this. And again, I think that maybe the second half of this match got my interest. And I think I was so into seeing Tiff. I was under the impression Charlotte was winning, and it made me go like, no, we need Tiffany to win this. And I'm super happy that she did. We didn't need Charlotte to beat her. This is a changing of the guard. 25-year-old Tiffany Stratton has already surpassed Charlotte, in my opinion, in the wrestling, in the character, in everything. And hopefully we get this great run. And this was maybe not the level of wrestling that I thought we'd get. But again, Charlotte is so hit and miss. I didn't hate this by any means, but again, I think the second half of it was a lot better than it wasn't a perfect match, but I did get into it at the end and was really rooting for Tiffany to win. And I'm happy it's Tiffy time, baby. The right blonde won.
Yes.
The right moonsault won too. Also, the prettiest moonsault ever is Charlotte goes away for a while again, I think.
And then we had the main event, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, going 32 minutes, 55 seconds. I was kind of in the Seth Rollins camp before this match started. I'm like, you know what? I'd like to see him win this one and a bit of a character shift and stuff. And then CM Punk's entrance made me root for this guy. Just the whole video package building up for his first WrestleMania main event and then showing his story, like footage of him from OVW and all that, and with like a piano rendition of
This Fire
Burns, which
Kill
was
Switch.
awesome, and then going into Living Color, playing him out. I thought awesome entrance for Punk here, and made me like super hyped for this match.
Yeah, I really loved the entrance for CM Punk, making it feel like a big deal, like that he cares about this WrestleMania main event. And the story going into it, I thought we had the pre-show on when we were setting up the bar all day, and they were discussing that Seth Rollins was sitting next to Paul Heyman at the Hall of Fame. And I mean, I've been saying it for months, like we should have Seth and Paul Heyman be together. And that's exactly what happened. This was like a soap opera for men here. This was not men, for everybody. This was very WWE soap opera, cinema, whatever you kids want to call it, because it had turns and more turns. Like all these guys have smoking hot wives at home, but somehow they're feuding over who wants to hang out with this old bald man. And we're here for it. We 60,000 people cheering because we're like, no, you need to be on this guy's side, and wrestling's ridiculous. You know what? I hated this, and I also loved this. Does that make sense? Like, by all means, this wasn't the best wrestling match we're gonna get this weekend, but it did have the drama. It did have the stuff that makes WWE different than actual sports and actual, like, it had that ridiculous, the last 5 minutes of like the turns and all this stuff. So again, like, did it hit for me? But it was fun. It was a lot of fun to watch. So I got into it, especially towards the end. And Seth Rollins coming out as Jesus. He has risen. And the crown.
Yeah, he changed from black to white, didn't he? Or something like that. Yeah.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. So wrestling Jesus here, Seth Rollins winning night one with the help of Paul Heyman. Again, the crowd reacting huge when Heyman hits Punk in the nards, and then even more so when he turns on Roman. So we'll see what happens. But Seth needed to win this match. We didn't need to give it to Punk. We didn't need to give it to Roman. Seth needed it, and he did it.
Yeah, story-wise, character-wise, it makes the most sense. CM Punk, especially as a babyface, doesn't need Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns, if you really want him to like flourish as a babyface, he's got to stand on his own now. You've got to get rid of Paul. Mm-hmm. And I think Seth, it's going to put him in a new direction. I think Seth's promo game has stepped up a lot recently. I think we can hopefully get away from the all of that stuff. Yeah. And I think him with Heyman on Raw, I think is going to be a good thing. And I think it freshens up that Raw scene a lot. I get the title on him as soon as you can, really.
Yeah,
like just run chop.
Yeah, stop dressing like a shower loofah and start dressing like a real like killer. And I think that would be the direction. I'd have him win the title at Backlash from Jay. I'd have Seth Rollins go in this way new direction, and you could easily spiral the feud with Punk and them again down the line, right? But we needed this. I think this was my favorite of the show of WrestleMania. Like I didn't think this was a good wrestling show, but I still enjoyed watching the show. It still had the pageantry, the spectacle, and everything really helped add to the lore of WrestleMania. But like, even reviewing it kind of right now, I'm like, man, I didn't like this match. I didn't like this match. I didn't like this match. I really didn't think this was a good show, but I still enjoyed it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything. Maybe the tag match, I wouldn't say anything was like out and out bad, but I didn't think, apart from the main event, I didn't think anything really lived up to WrestleMania status.
Sure.
Therefore, It makes it disappointing. I thought this match saved what wasn't a particularly great show. I thought this felt like a WrestleMania match. You know, you had the big entrances, you had the big characters, the big turns, and I thought the match was wrestled really well as well. I thought it was crafted well. It was hot. Like it was a long match. It went over 30 minutes, but it didn't necessarily feel that. It was definitely the most into the show that like our crowd was at Gabby's.
Right. Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I thought was done very, very well, and the turn was needed. But But overall, I'd say kind of a disappointing night one to WrestleMania.
Yeah. Again, the wrestling, nothing hit for me wrestling wise. The triple threat was maybe the most fun because of the Paul Heyman stuff and everything. But I'm hopefully expecting a lot more from night 2. But I didn't, like I've been saying for weeks, I didn't necessarily like some of these matches that we were given. You know, Jay Uso and Gunther, great moment and everything for Jay. But I still think we would have gotten a huge moment if somehow like we did the CM, I guess you want to do the Paul Heyman stuff, but like if CM Punk fought Gunther in the main event for the title, I think it just would have been a bit bigger, different. I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs we could talk about, but I didn't hate the show because I really enjoyed watching it. We were at a packed bar. We had a bunch of friends hanging out and everything that probably added to my enjoyment, but I'd say it was kind of boring if you were to have watched this. Like there's nothing that necessarily hit. I can't say I'll go back and rewatch any of these matches. But the last 5 minutes of this main event triple threat is what you will see replayed all over. Seth, don't ever hit Roman with a chair ever again. Let's put that to bed. I thought we saw the last one last week, but oh my God, we did it again.
Yes. Yeah, I think on paper, looking at night 2 now, beforehand, I thought they'd like split the matches up pretty nicely, but I do think there's a lot more potential in this night 2 card, like kicking off with Io versus Bianca and Rhea Ripley. Like something has to go very wrong for that to be a bad match. Like all three are incredibly over and incredibly talented and have a pretty great track record at WrestleMania as well. You've got the 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship match, which I think is going to be a whole lot of fun. I'm hoping Priest and McIntyre come out with massive chips on their shoulder and just beat the fuck out of each other. Because I think that could be a little sleeper, one that we go in with a like low expectations and low hype for, and then be like, man, they killed each other. Yeah. Randy versus a surprise opponent, that will have some intrigue. And of course, Cody versus John Cena is going to be electric. Like whatever happens in the ring, I think the atmosphere for that is going to be huge. And then, you know, AJ Logan and the tag match. So yeah, I'm higher on night 2. I think it is going to be a better show, but I did really enjoy that main event for night 1.
Yeah. More important question though, is Butterbean okay? That's what we want.
I still haven't seen it.
Not caught up.
Did Suzuki knock him out?
So Butterbean and Suzuki had a match at the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show, right? The Super Show there. Yeah. Suzuki Butterbean. And no one told them it was a rounds match. They needed Penn and Teller to get in there and stand up for them. But so Suzuki and Butterbean had one of the worst matches you'll ever see. So I recommend going out of your way to watch it. That pissed off Suzuki and Butterbean so much that Dan Severn thought they were shooting on each other. They weren't. And Suzuki was so mad that later in the night, he would take his frustrations out. It so far is my match of WrestleMania week that I would recommend everyone going to check out. Suzuki versus Yoshihiko in what may have been Yoshihiko's last match ever, because wow, you wanted blood at WrestleMania, Davey. We got it at DDT because Yoshihiko did make it out during the clusterfuck and got beat up by Snitsky, so they are okay, but wow, what a match. Suzuki, Yoshihiko would definitely recommend. But then, final thoughts here. Another match I had to watch. It was between watching Triple H's Hall of Fame speech, which I haven't checked out yet, or watching Sabu's last match. What had everything for me. It had no ropes and a barbed wire like massacre setup. We had Sabu, which to me kind of looked like he was on acid. You had Joey Janela with pink hair. You had Sandman getting lost. 7 stars, to be honest. So, match of the decade, possibly. Sabu tried to get out of this match like 6 times during the match. He kept hugging Joey. Joey's like, no, we're going to the fucking finish. We're not finished. You're not retiring on a non-finish. But Sabu took some gnarly bumps. So I would say you have to check this out.
Okay. All right.
Anyways, there's our WrestleMania Night 1 and Stand and Deliver review. Thank you so much, everyone who's in the chat here today. Appreciate. We do this every Tuesday. We do Up Next on Post Wrestling here, and we talk about NXT, but we talk a lot more, like we mentioned, Poisonrana. Search that in your podcast app, or go to Poisonrana.ca. Follow us on all the socials, because we do a whole lot of wrestling. We've launched a lot of shows this past WrestleMania season. Our Best Match Ever Triple H playlist there, our WrestleMania 9, WrestleMania 18, so many shows and movie reviews and so much more. So patreon.com/Poisonrana, $5 to become a friend to get access to all the other shows that we do, and it never stops. So we hope you're having a happy WrestleMania week. Hope you can fight the hangover like we're about to do today, because we're about to do it all over again.
Oh boy. Yes, we are, aren't we?
Oh boy. Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much, everybody. We hope you enjoying the shows and everything. Poisonrana.ca for everything. Happy Mania, happy Stand and Deliver, and we'll catch you again very, very soon. So take care, goodbye, and be safe.
Ahoy!